Hello students, today we will discuss about viruses, lichens and viroids. In the second chapter, you have been told about the 5 kingdom system of classification. All the 5 kingdoms, that is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, I have been taught to you. I have taught you the characteristics of each kingdom, but as per 5 kingdom system of classification, R.H. Whitaker has not classified some of the organisms like viruses, viroids and lichens. You can say this is the shortcoming of 5 kingdom system of classification. Yet this classification is not sufficient. Still, it has the shortcomings because the viruses, viroid and lichens couldn't placed as per 5 kingdom system of classification. So we will study separately in this chapter about all these 3. So let us start the first one, viruses. The viruses, before I talk about the details of the viruses, some of the contributions of the scientists have been given in your NCERT book. All these contributions of the different scientists are very, very important, keeping in view of the NEET examination. So, let us see first of all that which scientist has named the virus, and you will also observe that how the viruses came into the existence. The name virus was given by a scientist, his name was Pasteur. So if there is a question that name the scientist who coined the term virus, his name was, I have written here. So I request you all to note down all these important points. The name virus was given by Pasteur. Actually, virus, he took the term virus because of the poisonous. Virus means the poisonous fluid, or you can say the venom or the poison, which is very harmful for the living world. And the virus is related to the term poison or the venom, and accordingly he kept the name virus. D.J. Ivanovsky in 1892 recognized certain microbes as causal organism of TMV. There was a scientist, his name was Ivanovsky, D.J. Ivanovsky. He recognized a particular disease. The name of the disease was tobacco mosaic virus, TMV. It is a kind of disease in the tobacco plant. This is the diagram of virus. T stands for tobacco, M stands for mosaic, and V stands for virus. So this is the name of the virus, and this virus TMV infects which plant? Tobacco plant. And in tobacco plant, in tobacco leaves, these spots are appear in the leaves, and these spots are in which pattern? Mosaic pattern, means they are randomly, these spots are appear in the tobacco leaves randomly in the mosaic. Mosaic is the kind of pattern. They are not properly arranged. You can see in the tiles also sometimes the mosaic patterns are found. So these are the mosaic pattern, and these spots, they appear in the mosaic pattern. And overall, the productivity of the tobacco plant is reduced by this TMV virus. So Ivanovsky recognized certain microbes as the causal organism of TMV. This causal organism of TMV, and the contribution goes to this scientist DJ Ivanovsky. He first of all observed this disease, this virus, which is the causal organism of tobacco mosaic viral disease, and the virus was very small. He observed also these microbes, which are the cause of this disease in the tobacco plant. They are very smaller than bacteria. Even the virus can pass through the filter. There is scientist Beijering in 1898 demonstrated that the extract of the infected plants of the tobacco could cause infection to the healthy plants. It's also very, very important. This scientist Beijering, he obtained the extract of the infected tobacco leaves, tobacco plant, and when he brought into the contact of the healthy plants, he observed that the infected plant can infect the healthy plants also through the liquid, through the extract, and that liquid he named Contagium vivum fluid, means it is the infectious living fluid. So Beijering observed that the liquid or the sap, or you can say the infected plant of the tobacco plant, can infect the healthy plant through sharing of the fluid, the liquid, and that liquid he used the term Contagium vivum fluid, means the infectious living fluid. One more scientist, his contribution is W.M. Stanley in 1935. He observed that viruses can be crystallized. He observed, and you know the viruses, they are obligate parasite. The viruses can't multiply outside to the living things, and the viruses can be stored in the form of crystal for so many years, and these crystals mainly contain the proteins. That crystal is mainly made up of the proteins but don't have the genetic material. So Stanley observed that the viruses could be kept in the form of the crystal for so many years. Now, why viruses? Now, after the contribution of this scientist, I am going to explain that why viruses are very unique, why viruses couldn't placed into any kingdom as per 5 kingdom system of classification put forward by R.H. Whitaker. The viruses are very unique. The viruses are the connecting link in between the living and non-living, both. The viruses still we are confused whether we should keep the viruses in the living things or in the non-living things. It shows the characteristics of both living as well as non-living. When we talk about the living things, all the living organisms, as you know, they are made up of cells. Either it is bacteria or protozoa or animal or plants, all the living things, their body is composed of cells. Except viruses. Viruses don't have the cellular structure. Their body is not made up of the cell. Virus is made up of nucleoprotein. Nucleoprotein means it has two components, nucleic acid and proteins. The viruses, that's why it is called a particle. It is not cellular structure. Viruses don't have the cell. Like prokaryotic, eukaryotic don't have the membrane. There are no membranous bound cell organelles. Means the cells are absent in the case of the viruses. And because of the absence of the cells, their body is not made up of the cell. That's why it is considered that it is non-living. And in this regard, it resembles with the non-living things, because non-living things, they are also not made up of the cells. Second, why viruses is considered as the living? But it has been observed when the virus enters inside the living body, inside the living things, whether it is plant or animals, including the human beings, inside the living body, viruses multiply very fast. And as you know, multiplication is the characteristic feature of the living things. And because of the multiplication, viruses are considered as the living. And because of the absence of the cell, it is considered as the non-living. Viruses are parasite always. There is a term that is obligate, obligate. Viruses are obligate parasite. Obligate means 100% parasite. Means their survival is possible inside the living things only. They multiply, they reproduce. Inside the living body, they are unable to multiply, they are unable to reproduce outside to the living body. If you will remove the viruses from the body in the petri dish, in the petri plate, inside the laboratory condition, outside to the living body, viruses do not multiply. They do not multiply. And that's why they are called obligate parasite. Means in the absence of the host, their multiplication is not possible. They do not multiply, they do not increase in their numbers. Viruses, what sort of the viruses? Maybe. Now you can ask a question, sir, if the viruses don't have the cellular structure, don't have the cell organelles, if it is made up of only the nucleic acid and proteins, then how viruses multiply within the host cell? Because at the time of multiplication, it needs so many enzymes, protein synthetic machinery, how it multiply inside the host. In this regard, the viruses, they are very smart. When they enter inside the host cell, they stop the protein synthetic machinery of the host cell. They stop all the functioning of the host cell, and they use all the machinery of the host cell, of our body cells, for their own benefit. They use our ribosome. They use our enzymes. for their own multiplication. Means they stop our body functions and they flourish, they multiplicate, they increase in their number. After increasing, again the cell is going to be ruptured, then they infect some other healthy cells, and like this they spread very fast. So viruses, overall the viruses have the characteristics of living and non-living both. As per living characteristic is concerned, the viruses, they multiply inside the host body. As per non-living things are to be there, they do not replicate, they do not multiply outside to the living body, and also they don't have the cellular structure, their body is not made up of the cells, they don't have any cell organelles, they don't have the protein synthetic machinery. So viruses are considered as the link in between living and non-living, and that's why viruses have been not placed in any kingdom, and we study separately about the viruses. Now you see the structure of the viruses. These two diagrams have been given in your NCERT book. This is the diagram of TMV, tobacco mosaic virus. This virus, as I told you, infects or attacks on the on the tobacco plant. It causes tobacco mosaic disease, and due to the attack of this virus, the productivity of the tobacco plant, or you can say the yield, is reduced drastically. As I told you, all the viruses, they are made up of nucleic acid and protein. You can observe here in this virus, the outer, suppose this is the protein coat, and inside the protein coat the genetic material is present. The genetic material, as you know, the nucleic acid is made up of, the nucleic acid is of two types, and these are RNA and DNA. The viruses either have the RNA, either has the RNA or DNA, but never both. The viruses may have either RNA or may have the DNA, but RNA and DNA, both they are not present in the same virus, whether it will be RNA or DNA. For example, in the case of tobacco mosaic virus, it is considered as the majority of the plant viruses. Plant viruses means the viruses which attack on the plants. All the plant viruses, they have the genetic material which is RNA. They don't have the DNA as the genetic material. And RNA is single stranded, means there is a single strand of RNA is formed. So in plants, the genetic material, in plant viruses, you can say the genetic material is not DNA, it is RNA, and RNA is also not double stranded, it is single stranded, means a single strand is formed. But in animal viruses means the viruses which attack on the animals, they cause so many diseases in animals, and all these viruses may have the genetic material, either it is RNA or DNA. The RNA may be single stranded or may be double stranded, and DNA is always double stranded. So it's very, very important, you have to learn in all the plant viruses the genetic material is RNA, and which is single stranded, but in plants, as in animal viruses, the genetic material may be RNA or may be DNA. RNA may be single stranded or double stranded, and if the genetic material is DNA, definitely it will be double stranded, because DNA is always found in the double stranded form. In these two cases, in tobacco mosaic virus, the genetic material, because this virus attacks on the plant, this is a plant virus, the genetic material is what? RNA, and it is single stranded. The outer, always the nucleic acid is present inside the protein. You can observe here, this is the protein and this is the genetic material. So genetic material lies, protein is the outer coat, and the genetic material, that is DNA or RNA, is found in the center of the protein coat, inside, not outside. In the case of tobacco mosaic virus, the proteins are called, this outer layer which is made up of the protein, it is called capsid, and the individual one, you can say the unit of the capsid is capsomere. These all are the capsomeres. Nearly more than 2000 capsomeres, these units are found, and all these capsomeres are collectively called capsid. So capsid is the outer coat, and inside the capsid the genetic material, that is RNA, is found. So how many parts are there of the viruses? Once again you can see the viruses are made up of nucleoproteins. Nucleo means nucleic acid, either it is DNA and RNA, and proteins present outside. Suppose this is the nucleic acid and this outside, this is called protein. So there are two components of the virus, and these are nucleic acid and proteins. Proteins present outside and nucleic acid present inside. One more diagram is here about the bacteriophage. What do you mean by bacteriophage? Bacteriophage term has been taken. Bacterio means bacteria and phage means virus. The phage means virus and bacterio means bacteria. Bacteriophage is the virus which attacks on the bacteria, or you can say the viruses which attack on the bacteria, they are called bacteriophage. You can also say bacteria eating viruses are called bacteriophage. Means bacteriophage attacks on the bacteria, and this is the diagram of the bacteriophage. The bacteriophage, this outer part is actually made up of the protein. It has so many parts. The head, this is the tail, these are the tail fibers. The three components are there. Head, neck has the collar, and this is the tail. From here up to here, this is the tail, and the tail has the tail fibers. In the head portion, the genetic material is present, and that genetic material is double-stranded DNA. In bacteriophage, the genetic material is DNA, and this DNA is double-stranded. With the help of the fiber, this tail fibers, or you can say hook, the bacteriophage or the viruses, they adhere, they stick with the body of the bacteria, they hold with the body of the bacteria, and then they discharge genetic material inside the body which multiply further. One more thing about the virus. The virus, as I told you, is made up of two components, protein and nucleic acid, which is either DNA and or RNA. DNA or RNA. But inside the living body, when the virus attacks or enters inside the host, inside the human body or inside the plant or bacteria, the protein coat, the outer part, do not enter inside the host body. It always discharge or liberate the genetic material. Inside the cell, only the genetic material goes, but protein never enters inside the host body. So, protein lies on the body surface and genetic material enters inside the host cell, which further multiplies. So, these two diagrams you have to practice this both the diagrams, and both the diagrams are important for class 11. Now the next topic, that is one more topic is given, viroids. What are viroids? The viroids was reported by, this is also the infectious organism. Viroids was reported by a scientist, his name was Theo Diner in 1971. Viroids are free living RNA. Viroids are still smaller than the viruses. Viruses are smaller than bacteria, nearly 10 nm in size, and the viroids are smaller than even from the viruses. They are very small infectious particles. And viroids are made up of only RNA. The viroids don't have the DNA, don't have the protein coat, and RNA is having the high molecular weight, low molecular weight in comparison to the viruses. So viroids are made up of, it's very very important, made up of RNA only. Viroids don't have the protein coat, and the infectious RNA particles is called viroids. Viroids causes a disease in plant. The name of this disease is potato spindle tuber. It is a kind of disease in potato plant. Actually, the size of potato is spherical in shape, but due to this disease caused by the viroids, the shape of the potato, it becomes like this. This is the spindle shape. So this is a disease, potato spindle, in which the size of the potato, it becomes elongated. It becomes spindle in shape, and this potato spindle disease is caused by viroids, and viroids were reported by the scientist Theo Diner in 1971, and viroids are smaller than the viruses. Now the third one, that is lichens. This is the last topic of this chapter, lichens. As you know, lichens, what do you mean by lichen? Lichen is the symbiotic association of algae and fungi. Lichen is made up of two components, two partners, algal partners and fungal partner. The algal partner is known as phycobiont and the fungal partner is known as mycobiont. It means the algae and fungi both are symbiotically associated to each other. Both they are benefited to each other, neither harmed. As you know, algae, they are autotrophs. They can synthesize their own food material by the process of photosynthesis. So algae prepares food. It gives food material, ready-made food materials to the fungus. And fungus provides shelter to the fungus, and it also absorbs water along with the minerals from the soil and supply to the algae. So here in lichens, algal and fungal partners, both they are benefited to each other, neither harmed. Means algae, how algae is benefited from the fungus? Algae is getting shelter from the fungus. Algae is also getting too much water and minerals from the soil through the fungal partner. And how fungal is benefited? Fungal gets ready-made food from the algae. And that's why lichens are also very unique organisms, you can say, because it has the two components, algal and fungal partners, and that's why lichens are also not placed properly as per five kingdom system of classification. Lichens, they grow, they are the best pollution indicator also. Lichens generally they grow in the area where air pollution is very less or there is no air pollution. It's a very good indicator of the air pollution indicator. Why it is said to be pollution indicator? If you will see the lichens, they are growing in your area, you can say that the area is free from pollution. If the area are highly polluting, air pollutants are too much, lichens they do not grow in such type of areas. In your school campus, you can observe so many lichens because here we can't see the pollution. There is no air pollution. But in the metro cities, on the roadside, in the plains, hardly you can observe lichens. So if lichens they are growing in the areas, it indicates the area is free from air pollution. And if lichens they are not growing in an area, you can say the area is highly polluted, and especially from air pollution, especially because of the SO2. Actually main it is the indicator of sulfur dioxide, SO2 indicator. So that's all. I request you all to go through all these three topics which I taught today: viruses, viroids and lichens. Still, if any child is having any doubt, please write your doubt in the comment box on my WhatsApp. You can also make a call to me, but you cover all these topics. Tomorrow I will start the next chapter, chapter 3, that is Plantae, Kingdom Plantae. So that's all for today. Thanks everyone.